Hello everyone, welcome to Even the Scales. Thank you for clicking on this video today, and I hope you're all having a good day on this last day of 2024. My name's Donna, and today on my channel I'm going to talk to you more about the abuse that's being carried out on me here in Campbelltown, New South Wales. Before I start though, I would like to do an acknowledgement of country and first acknowledge the Dharawal people, who are the true custodians of the land that I bring you these messages on today. I would also like to pay respect to elders past and present, as well as extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are watching this video today. So the abuse and stalking is still very much going on here in Campbelltown, and the reality of the situation that I'm going through right here is that the community that's involved in carrying out the abuse is forcibly trying to end my life right now. And that's the situation. Like, there's no buts about it. Like, that is exactly what is going on. And it's a matter of life and death. It's been this way for quite some time, for many months now. And the only protection that I really have from all this is just to keep speaking out in this way about it. And I just hope that there's someone out there that's in a position of authority or someone in a leadership position that has the integrity and the power to actually help me and do something about what's going on here. Because these people are not going to stop what they are doing. This is clear. Like, this has been going on for 12 months at least, and it's literally me, one person, against thousands of people in this community right now who are constantly carrying out abuse to try and instill fear within me. I also want to thank the people that have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. If you haven't heard my story before, my family, the majority of the community here in Campbelltown, the police and other authorities have been carrying out something called MK Ultra mind control on me for some time now. If you're not aware of what that is, it's when a large group, a community, or just a family all get together and conspire to carry out very cruel abuse tactics on one person. And this is to take their life. It's to either make them very sick mentally or physically, or to just end their life, whatever comes first. And it's a huge network of people involved in carrying this out on me. It's highly organised. And they also hope that you will just lose hope in your own life and take your own life. And this is because of the way they are purposely isolating me right now. They have made sure that I have absolutely no one at all to help me. And they are just constantly carrying out this abuse. They have made sure everybody is involved in this. I have reached out to several organisations, and I've even reached out to people in the public eye for help who are meant to help people that are going through abuse, and I have been knocked back every time. They've either just brushed me off, or they've made up some excuse why they can't help me. And this is because I believe they've either been bribed not to help me, or they've just been told not to help me. And that's because it's happening because it's a part of a massive police cover-up that's been going on. And it's so some very abusive people and police officers can escape taking accountability for the crimes that they've committed. MK Ultra is a type of abuse where they can take a person's life without without anyone having to get their hands dirty. And this is because it's carried out by such a large group, and the abuse that they use is all psychological. So they constantly taunt, torment, and provoke you. This is what's been happening to me. And they're just hoping that the stress and anxiety get to me so that I have a mental health breakdown, or so that I develop some kind of sickness caused through the stress that I'm going through. And everyone just sits back and watches this go on while I'm going through this. My family and the police have been carrying out psychological abuse on me for well over 2 years. But a little over a year ago, the majority of this community here in Campbelltown got involved as well. And this was after I wrote a letter to the police. The letter was explaining how I have been treated and how police have responded to my calls for help over the past 9 years that I have lived with family and domestic violence in my life. The letter explained how I had made 12 calls during that time period of the 9 years to the justice system, and on every single occasion I was either treated very unfairly or my calls were were not even followed up. This is because I have family members in the police force, and there are also police officers and other people connected to this family that work in the justice system that have also been obstructing justice. And at the time when I was making the call to the police over the past 9 years, I did not realize at the time that it was all a part of the psychological abuse, that they were not following up those calls or helping me. But now I do. It's all been a part of the psychological abuse. I've actually made a video about how the police handled those calls when I called them for help, and it explains in detail about how they responded. And I will leave the link in the description box if you would like to go back and watch that video. Some other things that they are trying to cover up is that my family have stolen an inheritance, and this is why my family have been so invested in this abuse being carried out on me. Obviously, they don't want to give that money back. They don't want to be held accountable. So that's one, and the justice system have helped them do that. So nobody wants to be held accountable for that. I also reported a pedophile in 2020. That person is still living in a community, and the police know about that. This was also done as a part of the psychological abuse that's been carried out on me. They did nothing about that person just for that reason. There have also been other crimes committed by police officers who are connected to this family that they don't want the public finding out about, and one of them includes a very serious and violent crime against women. So it's all of these things that they're trying to cover up, and this must be what they do to people who know about police officers that have committed crimes. Rather than hold them accountable, they would rather try and destroy my life or take me out of the picture. And I just wonder how many other people that they have done this to in the past. So the police constantly stalk me as a part of this, and they have done since it started a year ago. They do this to intimidate me and to cause me stress and anxiety. Before I put this video on earlier today, the police knew that I had been working on what I was going to say in this video, and they knew that I was about to start filming because I already recorded this video once and I had technical difficulties. But just before I put the camera on to film that, the police knew what I was about to do, and I actually recorded what they did on my phone. They stalked my home in the helicopter and they circled my house for an hour and 20 minutes. They would have circled my house around 50 times just to try and stop me from putting this information out, just to try and scare me and cause me anxiety and fear. So they also do it just to rub the fact in that they're not going to help me. They're not there to help me. Like, they like to really, rub that in all the time. So this is why they have, and they've stalked me every day for the past year. There could have been like 1 or 2 days where they haven't. Maybe Christmas Day they didn't. But other than that, it's been every single day they have either stalked me in the police car or in the police helicopter. And I just think it's really disgraceful to think that there are actually cops in this town that are wearing the police uniform that are just as abusive, if not worse, than some of the abusers that are criminals out there. I think it's also extremely immature of them to be doing this, and it's also, they look like cowards for doing what they're doing. So they're really just making themselves look ridiculous. To be stalking me, a 59-year-old grandmother who is totally innocent of any crime. I have a clean criminal record. I mind my own business. I keep to myself. I'm not doing anything wrong except speaking out about the abuse that's going on here in Campbelltown. And this is what they're doing. So I really cannot believe just how cruel these police are. I really can't. The community is watching the police doing what they're doing. And, of course, with leaders and role models like this in this society, in Campbelltown, the community think that they can get away with whatever they want. So this is why, the community here that are involved in carrying out this abuse are just doing whatever they like. And as a part of all of this, my human rights are being violated in some very extreme and inhumane ways. I have no privacy whatsoever in my life. My home has a listening device. My car has a listening device. I'm tracked wherever I go, and all of my devices are hacked, and they can be remote viewed, not just by the police, but by members of this community. And they're doing this so that they can come up with ideas to carry out abuse on me. So I'm constantly watched and listened to every minute of the day. It's demeaning, it's humiliating, and no one should have to go through anything like this in their lifetime, let alone to an innocent person. The police listen in on my home to carry out their stalking according to what I'm doing. Like I just said, they knew I was working on this, so they knew I was about to start filming a video, so they started stalking me. And this is because they're listening to everything I'm doing. Sometimes they'll do this through the night. If they hear me move through the night, they will put their siren on. If they hear me get up and move to another room where it's quiet, they'll put the siren on. It's all done around what they're hearing in my home. The other night, it was either them or someone in the community who's listening in on my home decided to let firecrackers off at certain times during the early hours of the morning. This happened when, after they heard me move in my home, they let firecrackers off. They also did it earlier the night before when I got up and I went to bed. They let the firecrackers off then. So they're listening in on my home and they're doing things according to my movements in my home. So yeah, the community are also basing the abuse that they're carrying out on the things that they're hearing. And they will, if I'm out in public and stuff like that, if they've heard me say or do something in my home, I will have people stalk me to deliberately try and get close to me to mock something that I've done in my home, or just to repeat something that I've said or done, just to try and embarrass me and let me know, that they've been listening in. There also seems to be one person who oversees this whole operation, and this person's mind is very, very sick. That's all I have to say about that person. I can tell this by the abuse that they carry out on me. It's very, very cruel and it's very sadistic. And this person tries to control as much as they possibly can about my life, my surroundings, and they control everything that I see on social media as far as ads go. And they use those commercials to try and cause me psychological pain. I found an article on the Australian Federal Police website, and it lists the serious crimes that are classified as war crimes here in Australia. And there are at least 3 crimes on that list that this community and these corrupt leaders have used on me as a part of this abuse. So it's really hard to believe that this is actually going on here in Australia. They are committing war crimes right now here in Campbelltown on an innocent person. To carry out this abuse, they had to research my life in great detail, dating right back to my childhood. These people know absolutely everything about me. And they use the trauma that I've been through in my life as a part of the abuse that they carry out, just to try and make me keep reliving through those moments so that I can't heal from them. My family and people from my past must have given that information, and I think a lot of them have told lies. My family have stolen an inheritance, so obviously some of them are going to lie. And there's a lot of jealousy in my family too. So I believe a lot of lies have been told about me by the people who've given this information. They also found out what my likes are and my dislikes, and they try to use this information as a part of the abuse when they can. All the things that ever brought me happiness in my life, they have tried to remove in every possible way. And the things that I don't like, they have tried to create in my life. It's very oppressive treatment, and it's like I'm being held prisoner until the abuse that I'm being put through takes my life. That is the reality of what's going on here. I'm stalked not only in my home, I'm stalked on the road when I drive my car, and also anywhere I go in public. I'm stalked so much on the road that it's made it really hard for me to go anywhere. I constantly have people trying to cause me accidents on the road. Lately, they've been doing things like leaving bits of debris on the road just to try and cause me incidents. Or they'll set up things like breakdowns and stuff like that in the lane where I'm traveling. I didn't drive that much before this all started because of my anxiety, but I used to push myself every now and then to go out of the area if I really had to, or sometimes I just would do that, just because otherwise I never go anywhere. So It's got to the point now, though, where I cannot drive. Like, I can't drive anywhere but just to the shop and back. No matter where I go or what I'm doing, they make sure I have someone in front of me carrying out some kind of psychological abuse. And that is no exaggeration whatsoever. I mean, none of this is what I'm telling you now. It's all the truth. And I mean that when I say, when I go out, there is not 1 minute when there is not a person in front of me carrying out psychological abuse. It's been well over 12 months since I have actually been able to have a genuine interaction with another human being. Because everywhere I go, every person I come into contact with is set up in my life. I don't understand why this has been done to me in such a cruel way. Not only have they taken away my privacy and my happiness, they have robbed me of the right to have an authentic experience in my life with other people, or they've also robbed me of the right to experience genuine human kindness. It's like everyone's been told that they are not allowed to treat me nicely. They have to treat me badly wherever I go. And I'm an empath, and they know this, and empaths feel emotions a great deal. And I'm a naturally kind and generous person myself. So I feel emotions like to a really big extent. And it does actually affect my health when I'm being put through abuse. And because I've been through so much abuse in my life from the narcissists that I've encountered during my lifetime, it's like my body's been in fight or flight for a very, very long time. And it's been for about the last 14 years, my body has been in constant fight or flight mode. Yesterday, I put a post up on YouTube about the abuse that had been going on yesterday, and I went out after that. And it was like, after I put that post up, I think because the truth's coming out more and more, people are finding out what's going on here in Campbelltown. And when I go out now, it's like these stalkers and the people that are organising this must just be thinking, right, we have this window of opportunity. She's left the house. We have the next half hour or an hour or so to just abuse her as much as we possibly can, just to try and cause her a mental health episode. So this is what they're doing. It's like they're panicking, and they're trying to force an ending in my life to happen. And it's like this has been going on for a year. So I've had a lot of time to sit and think about this. I've been isolated, and it's like these people are being recruited off some kind of app or website. And it's like they're sending out some kind of alert when I leave the house of where I'm going. I mean, I'm being tracked everywhere I go, so I think this is what's going on. And it's like they're putting up on this app or this website the kinds of abuse that they're looking for. Because, for instance, they're sending people towards me that look like my abusers from the past. So, they're probably putting up on this app or website that, if you look like this person, well, you qualify to come and carry out some of this abuse on this person. Or they're using the details of the information that they've gathered about my past or the things that I'm doing in my home. So it's like they're putting this information up on an app or website and saying, like, you can use any of this stuff to go and abuse this person. And they're paying them to do this. People do try and get close to me all the time to try and say things where I will hear them. When I go into stores, I will have people do this. They will come and go to the checkout next to me and things like that, and they will say things that I have done in my home to try and mock me, things like that, or they will mimic things, mannerisms of my abusers or family members. And the people that are doing this, I don't know if they realize, but the checkouts these days, they actually print the time that you go through the checkout on your docket, and a lot of them also have facial recognition on them. So when I come home, I actually record the time, and what happened and things like that. So these people are not going to get away with it. When I go out, there's always one person where I get like solid evidence of what they've done, at least. The cars that they send to stalk me usually have a certain number plate that'll represent something to either mock me, or it'll represent the initials of one of my abusers, or it'll have a word on it that brings up some kind of trauma that I've been through. And it's like they're putting up on a website or app the type of words and initials that are qualifying. Like, how else would they get all these people to be in certain places with these kind of things for me to see? Yesterday, I'll give you an example. There was a vehicle and it had a certain letters on the number plate, and these letters represent something to do with banking. So this is the kind of thing they're doing to try and make me worry and cause me anxiety, because they know that, obviously I'm worried about the security of my banking and my phone. I don't know who can see my phone. I know that a lot of the people that are around me that are involved in this can see what I'm doing on my phone. So obviously I'm worried about my ID and my security. So they're doing things like this to try and cause me worry. This car actually had like some letters on it that would represent something to do with banking. And it's like just about every car I see on the way to my trip to the shop has some kind of, it represents some kind of abuse on the number plate. And I'll get people also follow me and stalk me to get close to me, just to try to say things as well to try and cause me worry. I've also had certain stores that I've gone into deliberately leave spillages on the floor because they're hoping that I'll slip over. Like, this is how desperate these people are. Because so much has been done over the past year by different businesses, people, organisations, the police, as a part of this. I wasn't supposed to make it this far. But the fact that I has them in a real dilemma, because this has probably never happened before. So it's like these people don't know what they're doing from one day to the next. So this is how desperate they are. They are leaving spillages on the floor, hoping that I'll fall over. Some of the stores that I go into deliberately play certain music to insinuate different things to cause abuse. And some of the things that they've tried to do is insinuate that I am some kind of whore. And I know that a lot of lies have been told over my name as a part of this. And I think they've done this to, so that it's easier to get people to abuse me, because they're telling them things like I'm a prostitute, a drug addict, a bad mother, things like this, all of which are not true. I have actually been celibate for quite a few years now. Not that that's any business of anyone's, but, the fact that they're doing things like this it couldn't be further from the truth. And, even if someone was a prostitute or a drug addict, no one deserves to be treated like this. Nobody. So that's the bottom line here. They want me to have an emotional outburst in public. There's no doubt about this is what they're trying to do when I'm out there. As I said, there is not a single second goes by that there is not someone right there trying to cause me some kind of abuse. And yesterday, it was just so full on because I'd put that post up and they're just panicking right now. And it's really showing. It's really showing how desperate that they are. And they also want me to call the police. They want me to call the police, or they want me to get sick enough from the abuse, like for instance, have an anxiety attack or something like that, so that I have to go to hospital. So they can say, look, this isn't really happening to you. We think you're delusional and you better come with us. This is what they are trying to get me to do, because the fact they are going to such great extremes with this abuse. It's unbelievable the extremes that they're going to do this. And, if you didn't know what was going on, you would think someone was crazy if they came up to you and said, look, I am being stalked by hundreds of people when I go out, or I just went into this store and they're playing music in that store to deliberately try and cause me psychological abuse, or, any of these things here. You would think that someone was crazy. But this is what they want. They have obviously done this to people in the past and gotten away with it. And I can tell this just by how far they're going to do this. Like, they're going to absolute extremes, and, people don't care if you have evidence on them, because these people are believing in their minds that you're going to be gone. You're going to either pass away or you're going to be locked up in a mental home, and they're going to succeed at what they're doing. They don't care. And because there's so many people involved, and just me, one person. And the fact that they're doing this in public places and they are wanting me to have a mental health episode in a public place with lots of witnesses, this is what they are wanting to happen. So this really, really makes me think about things that have happened in the past in public places where people have gone crazy with guns and knives and attacked other people. It really makes me wonder if those people, or some of those people, may have been going through something like what I am going through right now, because I can truly understand how someone could be pushed to that limit, especially if they wasn't in a good state of mind at the time. They know I'm from a background of abuse. These people know. They know I suffer from anxiety. So this is why they are using those conditions to try and make them worse. Back in February and March of this year, I was set up to be taken to the Campbelltown Public Hospital, where I was tricked into being admitted as an involuntary mental health patient against my will. And I was held there for a total of 5 weeks, and I was put through extreme psychological abuse the whole time I was there, from all of the staff, the doctors, the nurses, the fake patients that they had set up there ready to carry out this abuse. So this is the kind of extremes that they have gone to do this. I should never have been taken to that hospital. It was like they got me there and then they tried to cause me a mental health episode like they're doing now. And it was, my family were involved, The ambulance drivers were involved, and the organisation that I actually called for help that day were involved. And that was an organisation that is meant to help people that are going through abuse. I was not going through a mental health breakdown. I was definitely not thinking of taking my life. I just called them that day for support. This was already premeditated and planned. They all knew what they were going to do if anything like this was to happen. And I also believe that they're keeping a lot of things from me about my health, really serious things that I should know about. And they're just hoping that, one of those things gets worse. And I don't even know about what that is, but I really believe that they have done this. So the justice system and the health system have worked together to do this. And my family were involved in this, and it was their job to totally desert me through the whole ordeal. And they did come and see me a couple of times, but it was only to try and blackmail me into signing the control of my finances over to them. And there was no need to do that. I shouldn't have even been there. But this is what they want. They want me to be put into a position where I can't take care of myself. So if they affect my health in a way where, just say I had heaven forbid, I had a stroke or anything like that, well, I would be, unable to take care of myself. This is what my family want. This is what the justice system wants. Or they want me to have a mental health breakdown to the point where I have to go and be locked up. And, where they can say that I am not capable of making decisions for myself or something like that. And I've made a video on the details of what happened to me at the Campbelltown Public Hospital during that 5 weeks. I will also leave that link in the description box if you would like to go back and watch that. So it's like they're not only trying to escape accountability for what they have done, they are also doing this to deliberately try and hold me back in my life. Like they're trying to put my life on hold in a way where I can never move forward. They want me to always be so busy and so stressed out trying to defend my life against the abuse that's being carried out on me that I can't do anything else. And I'm a person who truly believes that I have a purpose in life, and that is to help other people recover from narcissistic abuse. And I also want to help create awareness of narcissists and the things to look out for with narcissistic people. And this is what I want to do, but it's like they are deliberately trying to hold me back from moving forward in my life to be able to do that, which is just, it's so backward when you think about it. Like this is what the world needs right now, is more people to find out about stuff like that. Because I know there was a time when I didn't know anything about narcissists too, and I'm so grateful that I found out that information when I did, because it helped me get out of really bad situations. So, and they've also told lies about me too, to try and deter people from coming into my life as friends or as partners. They don't want me to have a partner. They don't want me to have any help whatsoever. So they have told a lot of lies over my name. My family, some of my family members have done that, and the people involved in carrying out this abuse. And I also think that a lot of the people that have been carrying out the abuse have even lied to some of their friends and relatives just to get them to help them come and carry out abuse on me. So yeah, they don't want me to have time to do anything else other than fight for my life, which is basically how it's been for the past year. And my family have stood back and watched all of this play out in my life and have not once reached out and asked me if I needed help or if I was okay. So what does that tell you? A lot of the people that live around me, that live close to me, have been involved in this as well. And these people also listen in on my home, and so do my family members. So it really, really makes me sick that, I have people involved in this abuse that live so close, that are also listening in on my home to everything I'm doing 24 hours a day. I mean, it makes me sick that anyone's doing that. But the fact that these people actually live so close to me, like, it's even worse. It really is. And these people have been totally obsessed with listening in on my home, and the ones that have been involved in the abuse have been obsessed with carrying out abuse. They have been listening in constantly. They've been doing it for entertainment, the ones that are involved, and they listen in to think of ideas to abuse me. They carry out the abuse, and then they will come back and listen to see if it's affected me in any way. I think a lot of them have been expecting money when I got sick or when I passed away from this. So the fact that they do live so close, they have used this to their advantage in every way that they possibly could. And it's to the point where sometimes I will say something in my own house and they will hear something that they don't like that I've said, and I can hear them like just throwing things around in their house because they're angry about what they've heard me say. It's like they feel entitled to do it because they've been doing it for so long. So, yeah, and there's also been environmental crimes committed, like really serious environmental crimes as a part of this. And this is because of the extra traffic that they have used to stalk me constantly. And it's also because of the noise attacks that they have been using over the past 10 or 11 months that have created not only unnecessary noise but also pollution. I constantly have cars stalking past my house all day, every day. I've also seen people deliberately dumping rubbish out of their cars just to try and get a reaction out of me, which is just so appalling. I also know that they have been deliberately dumping rubbish along the side of roads where I drive or where I walk just to try and cause me stress. And right now, I would like to address the leaders of this town here in Campbelltown, who are Mayor Darcy Lound, as well as the CEO of Campbelltown Council, who is Lindy Dietz. I hope I pronounced that right. And also the member for Campbelltown, Greg Warren, who on his website, which is gregwarren.com.au, actually states that he claims to have a fundamental belief on social justice and equality and compassion and liberty. And he is the member for Campbelltown, and he is in the Labor Party. So I would like to address all these leaders here in Campbelltown right now and ask them, why have you sat back and watched these environmental crimes take place here for the past 10 or 11 months? Why have you sat back and watched these destructive noise attacks take place that would have been posing a threat to the mental and physical health of not just me, but everyone in this town? Why has the noise levels and the pollution levels not been regulated? And it wouldn't have only been affecting the health of the citizens of Campbelltown. It would have also been affecting the environment and the wildlife as well. Why have you sat back and allowed some of your council workers to stalk and harass me repeatedly over the past year? And most of all, why have you sat back and watched an innocent citizen be bullied and abused like this in such an inhumane way? And you have done absolutely nothing about it. And it's not like these leaders can say that they didn't know this was going on, because the noise that was coming from these noise attacks was absolutely unbelievable. There is no way that you could say, if you live in this town or you work in this town, there is no way that you could say that you didn't know that they were going on. It was quite obvious. I would also like to address the Minister for Health, Regional Health in New South Wales, who is Ryan Park, and the Minister for Mental Health, who is Rose Jackson here in New South Wales. I would also like to address you and ask you why I was taken to the Campbelltown Public Hospital and held there against my will for 5 weeks and put through unbelievable psychological torture by the staff at that hospital. Do you know about it? Why did this happen to me in one of your hospitals? I would also like to address Karen Webb, who is the Police Commissioner of New South Wales. And I would like to ask Karen, why is she allowing such a toxic culture to exist amongst the police force in New South Wales right now? Why was the letter that I wrote to the police, which was addressed through the proper channels, it was addressed to the Police Complaints Department at Parramatta, why was there no response to that letter? Why was it totally ignored? And why have you tried to cover up the information in that letter? Why is it that you don't want the public knowing about how I was treated during the past 9 years that I have lived with family and domestic violence in my life, from not only the police in Campbelltown, but also the police around the Nowra area on the south coast? Why are you allowing the police in Campbelltown to abuse and bully an innocent person like this just for expressing what they have experienced while they have been living with family and domestic violence? And the reason I wrote that letter was because I thought that it might even help the problem of domestic violence that's going on right now in this country. I thought that it might help to know how the police are responding, because obviously that plays a big part in what's going on here. So I would like to know all of these things, Police Commissioner Karen Webb, and I would just like to know why you're allowing me to be treated in such an inhumane way. You know, you're a woman yourself. Like, why are you allowing this to go on to another woman? And, you know, you have all the authority and power in the world to make this stop. Why are you trying to cover up that letter? Before I started recording the first video that I made this morning, I mentioned earlier in this video how I was stalked by the police. Well, they started stalking me after I actually searched for Karen Webb on the internet. That was when the stalking started this morning. Straight after I did that search, like obviously they're watching my phone, everything that I do. And they stalked me for an hour and 20 minutes, and they must have circled my house at least 50 times. When I searched the local member for Campbelltown, Greg Warren, straight away they started sending traffic up my street to stalk me. So right now, I want my human rights back. I want my privacy and I want my freedom back. I want my right to live a happy and peaceful life back. And I want my right to be treated with respect and dignity back. I want these people held accountable that have been involved in this. I want the police that have committed crimes held accountable. That's all I have to say today. If you've watched this video to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you can, I would ask if you could please share or like the video. It just helps the video to circulate out there so that this information so that people can be made aware of what's going on here in Campbelltown, New South Wales, and what the justice system and the health system are doing to people. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now, and God bless. Happy New Year.